The following is a GoPowerCat.com production.
It is 62 degrees in Manhattan, Kansas. At Big 12 headquarters in Irving, Texas, it's 65. And here at Studio 73 here in Frisco, it is 65 degrees. This is the Big 12 Insiders.
Welcome to the Big Insiders, your Big 12 sports show, presented by Synergy Financial Partners. Now let's go to booming North Texas, home of Studio 73. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, this is Brien Hanley, Big B. Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders. We've got our man, Tim Fitzgerald, in with us today. Fitz, what is going on in Manhattan, Kansas? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Dogs are loving the weather. They're in the studio with me today, so who knows what's going to happen. The Amazon delivery could come, and all hell breaks loose in the middle of the show.
I absolutely understand. Man, it is, the conference as a whole doing well. I saw something earlier today, Fitz, and today's going to be a day where we're just taking questions. We're just talking, people. But I did see something earlier today where the SEC and the Big Ten are getting together and discussing future, just anything to see how they can help. And what I believe is all that this comes down to is that the Big Ten and the SEC are just trying to figure out a way how they can be the only two conferences around.
Yep. They want their own division amongst themselves. And that's fine if they want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to warn Northwestern, Vanderbilt. I'm trying to think of the lower schools. I don't want to insult anyone other than those two academic powerhouses that don't belong in a major football conference. But there's a lot of dead weight, particularly in the Big Ten. Absolutely. I got to warn you guys. If they do this turns into Survivor, and you're going to get voted off the island at some point. Absolutely. You will get uninvited to your conference because you're taking up money and you're not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some other teams out there, not just them, but there's going to be some other schools that get the boot as well, and just looking for teams to come in, looking to add revenue, whatever they're trying to do. I think it's silly, but that's what this comes down to. Some people now have talked about, Fitz, that maybe they're getting together to come up with a game plan to get rid of the NCAA and to just push the NCAA out on its own. I like that theory, or in theory, I should say. But if you were doing that, wouldn't you include the other conferences?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah. And look, the NCAA certainly needs to be reformed tremendously. But I've already recorded my daily delivery for tomorrow because I'm exceptionally lazy today. This is my lazy day. This is it for today. But what I don't get here is, are you aware, folks, that the NCAA doesn't make rules? The members make the rules.
Correct.
If you don't like the rules, don't have your state government go to court. Go through the process to change the damn rules. Basically, now they're using their state attorney generals to get their way because they don't like the rules that a majority has approved.
Correct.
It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Makes no sense. And again, if you don't like, just like you say, you don't like the rules, just go and change them. It's pretty much that simple. But they only don't like it. Come on, Fitz. Let's be honest. You only don't like it when it doesn't work out in your favor. The rules are absolutely okay. I have no problems. But anytime that it doesn't work out for me, it's a horrible rule. We got to get rid of it. What are we doing? Let's sue.
You got it. Yep. I'm just astonished at how some of this playing out. And you know what? We need to know, the NCAA does need to know, in fairness to the states of Tennessee and Virginia that are involved in this lawsuit, they're basing it on antitrust. And I'm like, that's the avenue they took to get the NIL in place. And I get that. The NCAA couldn't ban players from making money off their own image.
No.
But this is different. This is a rule that doesn't ban the use of the NIL or the ability of players to make money. This simply says you cannot use it as a recruiting enticement. And that's been the rule. That's always been the rule. that hasn't changed one bit. But now the NIL is used in recruiting just ungodly amounts, and these collectives being independent, they think they can just contact student athletes and say, hey, get into the portal. You know what you're worth? You're not worth a lot more than you are at school X. Get into the portal. I'm sorry, that's a violation.
Yes.
I mean, you're still operating as a booster, as
Correct.
a representative of the university, even if you're not part of the university. But now we're seeing what K-State just did. They have an official NIL, which I didn't think was
You can do it.
possible. I thought
Yeah.
it'd be all outside, but I guess the NCAA is letting this go a little bit. It's a mess, but I'm sure the Big Ten and SEC will come up with a great plan to benefit the Mountain West, the Big 12, the ACC, the Sun Belt. All of them will benefit from this plan, I'm sure. I'm sure they really are looking out for everyone's interests.
Well, I mean, that's what they've always done. I mean, especially with all the realignment. And I mean, they really looked out for the Pac-12. I mean, especially the Big Ten, they love the Pac-12. I mean, they looked out for them, just wanted to make sure that everything was nice and neat. As they took and gutted that entire conference, it's just, woof, man. Brutal,
well, here, Big B, this is the issue for me. This comes down to this. If they want to form their own like upper division, this grand league, I think everyone, if the Big 12 is not included and everyone else that's not included, needs to sit down and say, okay, we're not scheduling you.
Correct.
We're not playing non-conference games with you.
Nope.
No, we're going to play in our division against our own opponents. And if you want to have non-conference games, you're going to have to play 3 or 4 against the other conference. Have fun. See how your boosters like that 4-8 at the end of the season.
Correct.
Instead of a 7-5 that gets you into a bowl game, because a lot of teams are going to get bloodied up. I mean, you're going to come up, if you only play within your super conference, you're going to come up with what? The same amount of wins as losses. And a lot of programs, a lot of fan bases are going to be pissed off that their team now is losing a lot, despite, the obvious point that the schedule's got much harder because you don't have 4 patsies in the non-conference like the SEC allows right now.
Yes, absolutely. It's not only that, it's like, how many teams are you going to allow in this thing? Like, they want to make this big super 2-division conference. Well, how many teams is it going to be? Is it going to be 20? Is it going to be 30? Is it going to be 40? I guess it wouldn't be 40 because you can't put 40 in there. You would be bringing too many people in if you decided to make it 40. So it's like, okay, if that's what you want to do, I don't think they're ever going to do it though, Fitz. I don't think that there's enough staying power for that to happen because it's just what you said. Alabama's going to end up going 4-8 2 years in a row. And next thing you know, they're going to say, well, wait a second. What did we do here? We empowered something that we didn't need to empower. Everything is fine. And to be quite honest with you, I really don't know why they're bitching. They got a 12-team playoff. Of the 12 teams, how many do you think are going to be Big Ten and SEC in it anyway? I mean, if we're being honest, 7 to 8 teams every year, they're going to make that. Yeah. I mean, so why are you complaining? You're going to get somebody in there that has absolutely no business trying to win a national championship that's going to be a 7-5 team one year that they're going to end up putting in there over somebody else. You just watch. I guarantee you that will happen. There will be a 7-5 team that shouldn't.
I would agree. Something weird's going to go on. It's hard to be 7-5 in the SEC though, because you can schedule 4 patsies.
That's right.
Jeez, just irks me. They thump their chests all the time and like, well, then schedule 9 conference games and at least 1 non-conference game against the P5. See how that works out. Be tough. If you're so damn good, do it. But they won't.
Yeah.
And they try to say it's about inventory. Folks, nobody's lining up to watch Austin Peay play Tennessee.
Not a soul.
Don't give me this inventory shit. I mean, seriously, Big B. In mid-November, people want to see quality college football, not Alabama playing, I don't even
Mercer.
know. Yeah. How's that good inventory? No. I think Chip Kelly got it right. And I see this is going to kind of segue into the other topic I want to discuss before we start fielding some questions. Chip Kelly said, don't have conferences for football.
Yep.
Just line them up and do your promotion relegation crap. 48 schools divided up in 12 like scheduling or 6-team scheduling groupings. I don't know, but and then teams can move up and down because it's not impaired by the conference, and then maybe try to
Correct.
take the conferences back to being more regional. I don't think that's a bad idea at all, but
No.
who knows? I don't think this will ever work out. You want to talk about antitrust issues? Have fun if you try to
Yeah.
do this.
Absolutely.
So I
Well,
don't know.
one thing that, and you're right about Chip Kelly, there's a lot of things that you could say about Chip Kelly, but when he came out and went on his little rant / tirade about all of this, he was 100% correct.
Oh,
He had it right on the money, and it could be fixed. And and here's the thing about that though, Fitz, we could do it if we wanted to. We could literally do it, but just won't.
Nope. It's
won't.
and now I just read that Chip Kelly is considering
Yes.
offensive coordinator job, and I'm totally spaced on the Washington whatever they
Commanders, correct.
Commanders. Just don't get rid of that. Anyhow, and Jeff Hafley from Boston College just fled for the NFL, saying, "I want to coach football again."
Mm-hmm.
That was the most precise, perfect statement about the state of college coaching you can make. They're not coaching football anymore. They're general managers of a semi-professional football program, and there's constant free agency with the transfer portal.
Yep.
They're managing salaries. They're managing egos now that have money wrapped into it. They've got all this thing going on in December with recruiting portal, NIL, bowl prep. There's hardly any time left to coach your football team. It's insane. This is not sustainable for the college at all. Nope. At least not in this model. And if the Big Ten and SEC want to inch it towards, taking outside investors and basically making this an independent entity that uses the brand name of the university as a licensed item, that's a whole different world. That's not college athletics. And you know what, Big B, I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people are like, we got to play at the top level possible. I'm not sure I want Kansas State involved in that crap. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable getting away from the student athlete model to just go straight out and say, oh, we're semi-pro now. They can go to class they want to, but we're not going to have any rules about that.
Right.
I feel like, what are we doing? This is college athletics.
Well, here's the thing, and nobody wants to say this and say it out loud. Look, being a former player, I can say it. Yes, should guys be able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness? 1,000%.
Absolutely.
But I think they should get a certain amount of money and put a certain amount of money in a trust. So after they leave school, then that the money is there. Okay. So, and what that amount is, somebody else can decide. I go, but you can't just say, okay, you're going to get this amount of money, because what will happen, and we've already seen it, kids will just start school hopping. I get money here.
Yep.
You know what? I can go get more money here. You know what? I can go get more money there. And they just continue to do that until they put some rules in place. It's okay for people to make money, but it's also okay to have rules attached to it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's exactly right. It's a mess, man. And when I bring this topic up online, particularly on the Twitter machine, a lot of people are like, well, then we'll just get a new coach. And I'm thinking,
no,
I don't know that Alabama fans really feel that way, because Nick Saban made it pretty clear. The changes in college football ran him out before he wanted to be out. It's just absolutely exhausting for a man in his 40s or 50s, let alone a man in his 70s. And I don't agree. I mean, if your coach is mediocre, you're fine if he wants to go to the NFL and not continue to coach. Let's try it again with someone else. I'm sure that's what Boston College fans are saying, because they still think Doug Flutie's running around. But, I can tell you this right now. Kansas State fans don't want to hear Chris Kleiman say, I don't know if I can sustain this, or Lance Leipold at Kansas. I don't know if I can sustain this. And they're, Whittingham at Utah. What if he came out and said, this is just overwhelming. I'm thinking about just going and retiring early. I wanted to coach longer, but I can't. This is bad for my health. Those Decembers are absolutely unsustainable for a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, they're working every day 12, 18 hours a day. They're on the road. They're constantly talking to people. It's unbelievable what's happened to coaching. And I don't know how you address it. First of all, I think they need to move the early signing period.
They don't even need to have it, Fitz. They don't have to have it.
They can go back to the old way.
Yeah.
Or maybe just clean it up and have one in August. August 1, you guys want to, or the first Wednesday in August, you guys want to sign early? Do it. I don't know why you'd want to.
Correct.
But here you go. You can sign early.
And
and also another thing that they desperately need, because keep in mind, when you recruit someone out of the portal and they say, hey, I'm coming, I'm going to go to TCU. You know what the TCU coaching staff has to do the next month until this kid shows up and enrolls in class?
They still have to recruit him.
They have to recruit him because there's no bind there. There's nothing signed that says I'm in, you're in. And they've got to address that. If they really want the transfer portal to work, a kid's word has to mean something. You want to earn money, then you have to be accountable like everyone else in the, somewhat professional environment. You have to sign contracts. You have to understand what you're pledging, and you have to fulfill your obligations. And if you're fine with that, to, make $50K a year playing football, that's awesome. But I feel like if they're not going to sign those type of agreements, and that maybe I don't know, why would the program want you if you don't want to commit to them?
Yeah, and I know the pushback to that is, well, high school kids, they change their minds all the time. They commit and then they go somewhere else all the time. I said, and I understand that part of it. I go, but maybe we should change that too.
Yep.
I go, there's nothing wrong with changing all of it and saying, hey, when you commit, you're committing. I go, and let's just go from there. I go, but if it's otherwise, what's the point of people coming out and committing and saying all this if you're just going to constantly change your mind all the time? And we see it all the time, every day. And first of all, I also understand 17 and 18-year-old kids, I mean, they change their mind like they change underwear. So I get that part of it too. So, but at the same time, at some point, we got to have rules. There's got to be consequences, good or bad, whatever they are. And we just have to learn to live with it. Rules are not bad. I think that's what society gets away from, Fitz, is thinking that rules are bad. Rules are not bad. Rules are put in place to keep from chaos.
Right.
Which, now, don't get me wrong. When it comes to the end of college football season, I love chaos. But when it comes to just actual following the rules on an everyday, we got to have some rules. It's okay. That's not a bad thing.
Guardrails are good. Can you imagine folks in Colorado like, well, we don't like the guardrails anymore. Let's take them all down through the mountains. Guardrails restrict us and tell us what to do. We've got to stay in the lane. Look, another thing the NCAA desperately needs to do is say, here's our rule book. Well, let me get this right. Here's our rule book, and now here's our new rule book. They're just so intrusive into so many things that are just ridiculous. Strip this down. Quit making it so complex that you basically have to have a PhD in compliance to be in charge of compliance at a university.
Literally.
It's a giant book of junk, and a lot of it's dated. You can't do this on the third Tuesday of, come on, man. Let's just set it up simple. Just make it simple.
Yes, just make it simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It really, really doesn't. And when it comes down to it, it isn't that complicated. We just get in the way.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to. It's not that complicated. But yeah, to get back on the coaching front though, Fitz, it's going to become an epidemic, I think. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon until they make these changes, because it's just what you said. Coaches want to coach. And yes, they're compensated millions of dollars. I understand that. Nobody's feeling sorry for a coach if they decide they want to get out. I don't know anybody that's going to feel sorry for a millionaire doing exactly what they want to do. But that comes the point in question here. They're not doing what they signed up for. Nope. They're not coaching football. They're being a general manager. Now, I will say this. That's why I believe that Coach Brien has some legs, because Coach Prime's not an X&O guy. He's a CEO guy, and that's what he's selling to the kids. He's selling, hey, you can make some money, you can come here, you can be, have all of this notoriety. I go, and you can do that here. So, but is that going to be sustainable? No, it's
No.
not. I think they can be good in the next couple of seasons, but eventually that shine wears off. And when the kids figure out I'm not really being coached and they want to be coached, or when the guys that they think are going to go to the NFL and then they don't go, or they don't get drafted as high, all of that will wash away. And then what do you have? Yeah. So and that's where it comes back to. You have to have coaching, and coaches got to be able to do what you hired them to do. You hired them to coach. You didn't hire them to be a CEO managing money, being a general manager. You didn't hire them to do that. You hired them to be a coach. So until it gets fixed, and again, I'll say it until somebody finally listens. The transfer portal can be fixed very easily with one thing. You can transfer once, and I don't care if your coach leaves or not. I'm sorry. Life is not about everything being fair. Right. I'm just sorry, Fitz. If your coach leaves, that doesn't give you carte blanche to just go somewhere else. Too bad, so sad. It is what it is. You can transfer one time, and if you transfer again, you can transfer again. You got to sit out a year, unless you're a graduate. That's easy. That is literally easy. And I think they tried to put that in place, and then a judge came in and said, nope, we can't do that. And I'm like, what? Why? Can somebody tell me why? And I don't think I've ever gotten an answer. I don't know if you know the answer to that, Fitz, why the judge overruled that ruling.
Well, I think for now it's just a stay on the ruling.
Correct.
I don't understand either. I'm really not.
Yeah.
You don't have to play football at the NCAA level.
No, you don't.
You don't.
Nobody's making you.
There's NIL. I mean, there's NAIA available. You can just wait until you're old enough to go to the NFL. You don't have to do this.
No, you don't.
But and plus now there's going to be a semi-pro league. That's fantastic. You can just you can go play football at Kentucky and go 2-10 every year for $1. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Good luck. Well, we're going to take a quick break here and hear from our partners at Synergy Financial. We will be right back.
Ask those questions. We need some questions. We got plenty from.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the mission is to change the way Americans plan for their financial future. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right, we're back with the Big 12 Insiders. Again, Brien Hanley here with Fitz. I did see there is one question. I know we need some more questions in here. But our man K-Ned came up with one about signing day. I'm going to pull that one up here real quick. Says, shouldn't signing day be after the college or the coaching carousel slows down and kids have full info? Yes. But it used to be that. It used to be in February.
K-Ned, that is a great point.
Yes.
Because I've never heard it really framed that way, but it's exactly right. We're asking kids to sign on the dotted line in December. And, oh, by the way, the whole hell could break loose and a coach in the SEC could retire, causing someone else to take that job. And that job becomes a Big 12. It just, all those, then you got 5 stabs in upheaval and kids that have signed their letters of intent, like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I think they do. I think offer that August 1, early August, late July signing period. If you're really committed, if you're the hometown kid and you've always wanted to go play at school Z, sign your letter. And that's cool. Then you can play your whole senior year without talking to the recruiters and being distracted.
Correct.
And you can focus on important things like academics and the ladies. But look, I'm just, I'm like, just sign and then let's wait till February. I missed signing day in February.
I do too.
It was a big damn event.
Yep.
It was really cool. And now it's like this rushed, thrown together. We're going to do this real quick. Everyone sign it on. I understand coaches don't want to hold on to these recruits through the bowl game, but that's going to be the trade-off if you want to free up your December a little bit.
Well, I mean, and you're right with the transfer portal. Look, change happens, and sometimes change is good, sometimes change is bad. Early signing period to me made absolutely no sense. When they had it, that made even less sense. And I go, just change it back. Again, it's okay to admit when something doesn't work, or better yet, it's okay to admit when you're wrong. And
Right.
then not enough people want to admit when they're wrong. Hey, you know what? This just doesn't work. It's not good for coaches. It's really not good for the student athletes if that's who we really care about, if that's who we care about. It's not good for them. So let's just move it back, get rid of it. And I do love your idea, Fitz. Have one really early, into July. If you want to sign then, sign then. I go, but if not, and you get a week to do it, you don't get, a month to do that. No, there's a week signing period. You sign within that week, and then you got to wait till February. And once February gets here, or whenever that date is, which I think it has to be in February,
Right.
I go, and then you can sign then. I go, but having to try to have kids sign and coaches going all over the place and transfer portal and this and that. I mean, that just, and then, oh, by the way, you're trying to get ready for a bowl game. Oh, by the way, you might be in the national championship chase in the college football playoff. You got to try to get ready for that. It's impossible.
Mhm.
It's just impossible. And again, nobody's feeling sorry for millionaires. But again, like I mentioned before, it's not the job that they signed up for. They didn't sign up for all of that, especially just in 1 month. If you were to spread all that out, okay, I can live with that. But to have it be basically a 3-week period in December is insane to me. It's insane to me.
Let's see here. We got a good one here from a smart person. He's ag biochemist. I'm going to just say this now. You're overqualified for this show. Will Florida State cause the SEC to become extinct? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brien, I was just reading something about this last night. People down there are beginning to think that the ACC is realizing their position isn't as strong as they thought, and they got a real problem here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ACC is going to fly apart this summer. I do. I think Florida State will push the boundaries, and once the boundaries are proven to be, negotiable, Miami's in there, Clemson's in there, Virginia Tech's in there, and I'm going to just say this, and I know it's a pie in the sky dream, but if the Big 12 can somehow convince the top brands in the ACC, don't do what others are doing and just join these giant clubs that are eventually going to start excluding schools. Join us. If you add Virginia Tech, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami to the Big 12 brand, I think you close that gap significantly, particularly on the Big 10. Maybe not the SEC, but the Big 10. And I don't know what that means for revenue. I add in the basketball play, and you might actually come out even or ahead. Pie in the sky, maybe. Will they join the Big 12? Probably not. You're probably going to end up with Georgia Tech, NC State. Nothing wrong with those schools. They will fit into the conference great, but they don't elevate you. They just expand you into new TV markets, which has value, but not the big brands.
Right. Well, the one thing about it, I think Florida State's pretty much showed their cards here, Fitz. It's about money for them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
They don't care about anything else other than money. If the ACC came out today and said, we're going to pay you $10 to $15 million more a year, they would say, okay, then we're fine. They literally would not care. So it's about money for them. So they're going to go to wherever they can make the most money. Now, if they were smart, and it's just like you said, if they were smart, it's like, okay, we can get more money going to the Big 12, but also we can be the national brand in that conference. I go, so somebody there's got to be a forward thinker and just think it's not because you go to the SEC or the Big 10. Yeah, you're in it. Look what they just did to Florida State. They kept you out. I go, they kept you out because of where you are. I go, they don't think highly enough of you. Do you think they're going to think highly enough of you in those conferences? They're not. I go, but you can still, but they do think highly of the Big 12. They do, even without Oklahoma and a Texas. they will still think highly of it, especially you add in the basketball element. They're not going to have a choice, number one. They'll be forced to still consider the Big 12 one of the big boys. So have some forward thinking and think, you know what? We can just go be the big boy in this conference that has some stability, get more money because, I mean, that deal, like you said, they're going to get out of, how lawyers are. They're going to find a way to get out of that bad deal with the ACC.
Yeah,
they're going to find a way. And as soon as they do, because first of all, if anybody believes that it's only Florida State lawyers that are working on this, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
all of them are working together to see how they can get out of this thing. And somebody is going to have a way, and it's going to work. And they might have to pay a $50 million exit fee. They'll pay it, and they'll be finished. It will literally be, and they'll all get out, and it'll be all over. And hopefully, like I said, somebody has some forward thinking Fitz, and they just say, why go join them when we can go beat them?
Yep. The other point here that really bothers me about this is the national media still acts as if the ACC schools make more money than the Big 12 schools.
Yeah, I don't know why.
They don't. They don't right now.
Correct.
And now the new contract kicks in a year or so. Yep. They won't even more than without Texas and Oklahoma.
Correct.
Quit doing your math as a conference and do it as individual schools. It doesn't matter to me if the conference makes $7 billion if I'm making $150. I divide it up. What's important is how does this impact every budget? And Florida State would increase their opportunity to make more money. They would make more money in the Big 12. And as you said, they would all of a sudden look around and say, we have a much cleaner path in perception, maybe, to the national championship through the Big 12 because there aren't established brands. There aren't these big names. There aren't blue bloods. And I'm going to say something here. Folks, Florida State isn't a blue blood. You got into this yesterday with the panel. I think it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. For me, blue bloods are our generation's teams that played on TV in the 70s.
Correct.
When college football blew up. It's USC, it's Texas, it's Oklahoma, it's Ohio State, Michigan. You don't join that club. Mm-mm. You can join the brand club. Florida State is a big brand, no doubt.
Right.
And can Kansas State become a bigger brand? Can it become a Clemson? Clemson's not a blue blood. They had a lot of success there, but they're not a blue blood. They're a big brand in college football. The Blue Bloods.
But that's recent, though, Fitz.
Oh, I know.
They recently became a big brand. You go back 15 years ago, they weren't.
That is exactly it. That's exactly what the Big 12 is facing over this first decade of being the new 16, maybe 20 school conference. It's schools like Kansas State and Utah's kind of already on that path for what they did in the Pac-12. Oklahoma State, UCF, BYU, which is a huge brand anyhow, and a blue blood in its own way because it has such a huge following. But yeah, you start stringing together big seasons and you're in the playoff, you become a brand.
Absolutely.
People like, oh, Kansas State and Utah are playing right now on whatever platform ESPN parks these games on. Maybe we'll go watch. We'll see what happens. But I'm intrigued by what's going on in the ACC. And I think it's a shame we might lose another conference, but also it's a reality of the marketplace. This is the marketplace at work. And if your point in the marketplace isn't bringing you enough revenue, you go seek more revenue. That's true of any business.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing about it, though, Fitz, is we hate it for the schools that get left out. Like Oregon State and Washington State, I absolutely hate it for them. But Oregon State and Washington State wouldn't feel sorry. They'd be upset that Kansas State got left out, but they'd be more happy that they're in. And I go, and I'm the same way. It's like, I hate that they're left out, but that could have been us. It was going to be us. I go, and it didn't happen for, Big 12 had, again, a forward thinker and got out ahead of it, and the Pac-12 did not, and away they went. So it's just, it's troubling to say the least. But and all of this stuff drives me insane because I just want to see good athletics. They've made it so money driven. And look, I'm not against making money. I'm not against other people making money. I'm not against any of that. But I am against it when it gets in the way of good quality products. when it gets in the way of a good quality athletics, that's when my stomach starts to churn, Fitz.
I agree.
You know,
I'm a former newspaper guy. I got out of that gig in the mid 90s. I kind of saw what was on the horizon. It changed more than I thought it would, but and now newspapers are dying because of private equity coming in and buying everything and just running it for profit. And our friend Abe asked us this question: will private equity change college football? Are we going to look at investment groups essentially buying Alabama football, buying LSU football, and saying, okay, we're going to operate this for the university? And, it could grow out of the NIL collectives growing so big and powerful that they actually license the team and run it for the university. That's what private equity could bring. Yeah, it'll be an influx of money. It'll be an influx of money and just cutthroat. Oh my God. If you want to start bringing private equity into college sports, that's a good way to blow up college sports because those people are ruthless.
Yeah. It's not just that. It's like, who's going to run it?
Yeah.
I'm like, you would have no use for an athletic director or a president. They absolutely wouldn't be in charge. Like, I can tell you that right now. They're not going to be running those things. You have a head coach, but who's he going to answer to? If when you start doing stuff like that, it's just, man, I get it, but I'll be honest. I've never been a guy that said, you know what, if you do something, I'll never watch. If that were to take place, I would have a strong feeling that I would like, you know what, I think I got to take a step back here. I go, because now it's not fun anymore. Now you've completely taken the amateurism out of it at all. I like college football because I like to see the guy that's never going to play a snap in the NFL. Number one, because I was one of them, but he can be an excellent college football player. I watch college football for that reason, Fitz. And you would almost be eliminating that by doing this. You really would, because you can't tell me if you bring in private equity, they're going to pay top dollar for everybody. And if you're a third string guy, they would reduce the roster number. They would reduce the scholarship number because we want to maximize profits. That's what they do. They maximize profit. Why do we need 85 scholarships? We don't need that many. Look at NFL teams. They don't have 85 people on their roster. What would we be doing? It would just absolutely be killing the sport. I think it would. It would kill it, and it wouldn't take long. No. It would not take long.
Clap. You brought up an interesting point, though. How will university presidents and chancellors address this? Are they willing to license their name as a university to a private equity group? And look, they're all struggling for money, and they make some money, but now you don't control it. You have no control on how your university is represented because you have a contract in place, and there might be some guardrails in that contract, but we know university presidents, they like stick their nose and stuff and assert their authority.
We'll be able to do that here.
Yeah. It's I don't see university presidents going for this. I don't see them saying, sure, let's license out our name and play semi-professional football. And maybe they don't even have to be student athletes. Maybe they just be athletes and just come to town and hang out and play football. I don't think anyone in the academic side of the universities is going to say, oh, that's cool. No, it just doesn't work. We got people paying us now.
Aha.
I don't even know what Canino is asking here, but let's see what it is. Hey, Fitz and Brien, great show, fellas. Right. Question: do you ever see a day in the near future where a program makes a trade in the NIL model? That's interesting.
I have had that conversation with people, Fitz. I've had it, and people say yes. That people are saying yes, that they are going to start trading people, trading players. Now, first of all, there's a lot of logistics to that that would have to take place, but I people say yes, and I'm just like, man, how can that happen? They're not property. It's not like they own your rights. Like, okay, like if I go play for the Chiefs, you own my rights, and I have a contract that's with you. I go, now if they start doing these 4-year contracts, that's something different. But the scholarships are 1 year. And they get renewed, but they're 1 year at a time. And if they go to 4 and all that kind of stuff, would they trade guys? I don't know. I mean, I can see it. There's a lot of people out there that saying more people than what you would think are saying, yeah, that's going to happen than no.
It takes a lot to make me search for words. That's fascinating. I'll take it in this direction. For that to happen, there have to be contracts that essentially own your services and you're paid for your services. And we can assign that contract to another school and trade you. I see this as a model of really taking advantage of the student athlete. We're going to pay you, but now you're ours. And if we don't like you, maybe the other school will, and they can trade us that safety we need. Oh my God, what a mess that would be. And how much would these people donating to some of these NIL collectives that are less reputable, maybe? How much are they going to attempt to screw over with a complex contract? An 18, 19-year-old young man and his family, or young woman and her family, with a bunch of language they don't fully understand, and they can't afford an attorney to look over it.
It would happen every day.
Yep, every day.
It would literally happen every day.
If you give some people a chance to screw you over, they're going to do it.
Yeah,
because that's good for them. Cornelio, we appreciate the question. Thanks for the super chat. We do have that available. It's down in the right corner, Big B.
Yep.
If you're on YouTube, go hit it up. Well, you go right to the top of the questions. And now we just bought my dog some more treats. Nice. They need them.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's wild though, Fitz. If there was an opportunity and people are getting traded, I think you would just cancel you would just cancel it altogether. I mean, it wouldn't even be amateur athletics anymore at that point. Yep. Private equities, trading people. I mean, first of all, you'd cancel the school part out of it, because you tell me a private equity firm's going to want somebody burning the night oil going to school when they could be studying. They're not going to want that part, that aspect of it. I can guarantee you they wouldn't. I go again, they're about maximizing profits. How do you maximize profits? You get your asset to do everything that it can to earn as much as that it can. And that doesn't require going to study hall or going to English lit class at 9 a.m. in the morning. So,
yeah. And folks, you got to understand this. Right now, the NCAA requires a base number of sports to be offered in men's and women's.
Oh,
that's going to go away.
That would go away quickly.
And if we're talking about this is about a business now and being run like a business, I'm sorry, swimmers, maybe even soccer players, lacrosse players.
Yes.
You don't have college athletics anymore. College athletics will be football, basketball, volleyball, baseball, and softball.
Then that's it.
And at a school where hockey's important, yes. At a school where downhill skiing is important, yes. Maybe lacrosse out east will still have an element. But if you're going to turn your fate over to private equity or outside investors, you know what they do? They don't want to do anything that doesn't make money.
Correct.
That's really it. And Brien, if you make them employees, you know what doesn't apply anymore? Title IX.
Exactly.
So if a private equity firm is really ruthless, they're going to roll in and say, you know what? We offer football and men's basketball. That's it. And actually, it's football and basketball. They're open to all participants.
Right. Let me ask you this question, Fitz. I'm going to dive into this before we close down the show today. And I just wanted to ask this. I am all in favor of Title IX. I think what it does is outstanding. Not great. It is outstanding what it does.
In the athletic realm, yes.
Yes. And that was where I was going with this. Why does it seep out of the athletic realm? First of all, I don't even understand how that works, but every time you hear of something that happens in college and it doesn't have anything to do with athletics, they're talking about, well, it's Title IX. I'm like, well, wait a second. I thought Title IX was supposed to give opportunities for everybody. First of all, I think you got to take football out of that number, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But even having said that, why is everything Title IX that has to do with nobody that is involved in athletics? How does that work?
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to, this can trip into politics real fast, but I'll say this, and I'll do politics. I'm a libertarian, and I think some of these guidelines being and regulations being put out by the government, not by legislation, but by just some guy in an office saying this is the way it's going to do. We're going to do it. And now they've decided that Title IX, oh, you can apply that to punish men for behavior on campus. I don't understand that at all. I don't. That I'm all for it. You should have a safe environment, but how is that Title IX?
Yeah, it doesn't even mean the same thing. That was my question. It's just like, how does that always work? Because like I said, it's like, I think what Title IX did to include everybody, give more opportunities to everybody is outstanding. And again, not great. It is outstanding. But how it seeps over into things outside of athletics, it almost diminishes it, in my opinion, on what the actual meaning is, in my eyes. Again, I'm not trying to get political or anything like that, because I just don't do that. But I just always wondered that, and maybe you had an answer because somebody had asked me that question. I thought I would bring it up today. So,
yep. We got a couple cool more questions in that chat I kind of like, but we probably should park a break too.
Yep, absolutely. Let's do this. Let me get over here and get to our partners again with Synergy Financial. We'll be right back, people.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the vision is to build the world's largest consumer financial education and empowerment company. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right. We are back again with the Big 12 Insiders. Question down there. How do you foresee AI changing college athletics and coaching?
I had not really thought of this. Now, the reason why I wanted to take the break and then bring in this question, because the voice on our ads now is AI.
Right?
It's freaky. I mean, there's people out there trying to make a living as voiceover talents that, AI can change a lot of things. And look, I know everyone's into analytics, and I think we just saw an exhibition of how analytics can not be right.
Correct.
What happened with the Lions, that sometimes it's like playing blackjack. You know what the analytics are, when you hit and but once in a while, if you're counting the cards a little bit, you kind of say, well, I haven't seen a face card in a long time. I've seen a lot of face cards. Chances are sometimes you have to leave your analytics behind. And AI will probably understand every nuance that's going on with the score, the time, the amount of timeouts you have, the position on the field. Maybe it's at the 35, but if it's at the 40, the answer is different. I think it could. I think you could literally have instantaneous play calling and decision making from AI on the sideline. I'm old. I'm done. I'm going to AI freaks me out so much.
It does. Here's the thing about it is that, with analytics, it's basically, I know what the argument is. Well, people want the human element to make the decision. Well, if you're using analytics, all you're doing is putting the information into the computer and it spits it out at you. Right. So now you can have it instantaneous. I think it's going to be here, Fitz. I think it'll be here sooner than what you think, too. I know that may not make you, me, or anybody happy. It definitely may not make coaches happy, because then coaches start thinking, am I obsolete, in this whole thing? But I just think it's going to be around sooner than what we think.
Well, as a newspaper guy, yes, you can be obsolete really quickly. And guys like us come along and fill the space, but that I'd never really considered that. I'm pretty sure our viewers are smarter than me, because now I've had my mind blown twice in one episode. That's why I love it. Also, I want to throw this up here, Big B.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to branch out to all of the new Big 12.
Absolutely.
And BYU fans, spread the word, man. Most of the people right now, we've got like 50 some people watching the live. A lot more will watch it later. They're going to be K-Staters, because we're a K-State channel, right? But we also cover the Big 12 in our own ways. And this is our effort to branch out in the Big 12. We don't want this to be a K-State show. Will we reference K-State a lot because it's our point of reference? Yeah, we probably will. But boy, we want BYU and Arizona and Utah and particularly out west. We'd love to have you all involved in the show, and that's why we're trying to get the 24/7 pubs and representatives on. Eventually, we're going to branch out into other people. I did that last Friday, and maybe some ex-players. And Big B and I are constantly talking and massaging. We might change some graphics, but we're having fun, man. This show is a lot of fun. I think this show is really good, Big B. You're doing a good job.
Well, I appreciate it. The thing for me is I want this to be when you want to find out about, and look, let's just be honest. We're going to cover mostly football and basketball on this channel. We may dive into baseball a little bit in baseball season, but mostly it's going to be about football and basketball. So I want it to be when you want Big 12 news, you're coming here to watch. You're coming here to get your information. That's what I want this to be. Number one, I want you to be entertained because I feel like we do a good job of bringing that. That's what all this is anyway, is entertainment and information and how you consume it. So I just want people to say, you know what? I need to find out some Big 12 stuff. I'm tuning in at 1:00 on YouTube. I'm going to find out what I need to know about Big 12, and we'll keep getting better at this. We're constantly tweaking some stuff and to make it a better show. We're just starting out here. I mean, it's brand new, but I promise it'll get better. We'll keep having more fun. I think the thing fits, the more fun we have, I think the more fun that the people that are watching, that they are going to have, and interacting with questions and stuff like that. Just keep throwing the questions out there, people, because to me, I like answering questions. That's what I do best, is finding out, answering your question and giving it to you in a way that you can understand. That is kind of the gift that I have. Both my parents were teachers. So their thing is you got to, and my dad, he taught elementary. So you got to be able to relay information in a way that they can understand it. So that's kind of my gift. So I love talking about sports. I love the Big 12 Conference. Clearly, I love K-State. But we will keep getting better at this thing, Fitz. Anything before we end the show that you want to add?
I'm excited about the future of the show and where we can go. And I'm going to be honest here. We wanted to include the publishers and writers from the 24/7 Sports Network in the Big 12. They've been really good. Yeah. I just thought there'd be a lot of, old newspaper guys like, but no, yesterday's pairing was fantastic. Those guys were great. So we'll still delve into that. But I think we've decided Fridays are going to be Ask Big B Day. And that could be really fun in football season because we'll get into some odds in sports betting. I don't want to have a whole sports betting segment. But we'll bring it up. We'll talk about these things in the course of the show. And I'm going to tell you now, when we get into sports betting and I offer advice, do not take it.
Don't take it.
Don't take it. I fired myself from sports betting. I haven't placed a bet in a very long time. I might do it for the Super Bowl, but I suck at it. Don't listen to me. I'm just going to say that up front. But Fridays are going to be Ask Big B. We're going to have guests on the other 3 days. And of course, the K-State version of this is every Monday. And we have a lot of fun with that.
Yes, absolutely. So we appreciate everybody that has joined. Like I said, we are new. We are growing. It's because of you guys. We appreciate it. We will be back again Tuesday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. The Big 12 Insiders, people. Thank you guys. And we'll come back. We'll see you on Tuesday.
This has been a GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.